Are fungus gnats making you crazy and you can't seem to get rid of them? Let me help you kick those suckers in the butt. We're about to go really in depth, so if you don't have the time or mental capacity right now, save this video so you can come back later. Unfortunately, there isn't a quick fix or one product fix all, but by the end of this video, we're going to make sure you have the right products and understanding to get those out of your house. Understanding the 4 stages of their life cycle will help you understand why you're not able to get rid of them and how to get rid of them. There are 4 stages: the eggs, larvae, pupae, and adults. And the adults are the ones that we first notice as they fly around and annoy the crap out of us. The adults live for about 10 days, and females can lay 200 to 300 eggs in that time. They can't fly very well, and they're attracted to moist and humid areas that have organic matter. This is usually your plants and terrariums, but it can also be your dirty dishes in the sink, hair and skin cells in your drain, or your toilet. From the adults, we go to the eggs, which are most of the time confused with this, but they aren't this, they're this. The eggs are placed in moist organic matter, so they have food, and they take up to 6 days to hatch into the larva stage. For the next 2 weeks, larvae will crawl around in your soil or in your drains and eat up all that organic matter before turning into the pupae stage. The pupae stage also lives in the soil, but they don't eat, and neither do the adults, so remember that for later. The whole life cycle takes up to 36 days to complete. So now that you know the life cycle, let's talk about how to get rid of them. The only way to get rid of all of the life cycles at once is to throw out all your food and plants, get a dehumidifier, cut off your water, and toss out your pipes. Kidding, obviously. For real though, allow your plants and terrariums to get bone dry, get rid of any decaying matter that you can, make sure that your human and pet food are properly stored and sealed. Clean your drains and remove any sitting water. This could be your water bowls, the glass on your nightstand, any sitting water. This won't get rid of them, but it will help eliminate them. Seriously guys, stop soaking your dishes. Just wash them when you're done eating. If you have things like bog plants, dart frogs, isopods, things of that nature, this isn't really an option for you. But do what you can, and we'll focus on the rest in the next sentence. So let's start with getting rid of the larvae stage. The best and easiest method is mosquito bits. Yeah, mosquito bits is made up of a bacteria, and it's safe for all life. Well, except for fungus gnats, flies, and mosquitoes, obviously. It's not going to hurt your cats, dogs, toddlers, turtles, birds, frogs, fish, pet bugs, unless you're keeping flies for some reason. I don't know. How it works is when you mix it with water, it activates the bacteria, and then you dump that bacteria into your bins or your soil, and then the larva eats it. Dump it everywhere. Even if you haven't noticed the fungus gnats in that pot, just do it. It's better to be safe than sorry. Once it's eaten, it creates a toxin in the larva, and they're not able to grow and molt, and eventually they die. But if you already have the pupae and adult stages, mosquito bits isn't going to infect them because remember, they don't eat. So if you're only using mosquito bits, this is probably why you're still seeing fungus gnats. Another option to get rid of the larva stage would be these Scmitus mites. They only eat the larva stage though, and if you're going to buy beneficial bugs, I have a better option for you. But I just wanted to mention that just for funsies. Scmitus mites also eat springtails, and they may eat other beneficial and pet bugs, so do your research before using them. Let's move on to the pupae stage. Is it pupa or pupae? There's only 2 ways to get rid of these soil dwellers. The first is to purchase and distribute nematodes throughout your soil. Disclaimer though, if you have a cleanup crew like isopods or beneficial bugs like lacewings, nematodes may eat them, so do your research before dumping them in your plants or your bins. Did speak with a Brico, and they did tell me that nematodes would absolutely eat your springtails and isopods. I also spoke to some isopod collectors who have put nematodes in their isopod bins and haven't noticed any sudden die-offs or decline in population. Have you added nematodes to your bins, and what was your experience? I personally don't think I'm going to do it because I don't want to risk it. The second and last way to get rid of these soil dwellers is to change out all of your soil in your plants and terrariums if you can't let them dry out or you weren't able to eradicate them. Now, this option is completely pointless if you have a ton of adults, as they're just going to lay eggs in the new soil. If you feel like you've got them under control and you really aren't seeing any fungus gnats though, you can absolutely change the soil. And you don't have to throw all that soil away. You can cook it on the lowest possible setting for like an hour or freeze it for a few days if you have the space, and the soil will be as good as new. Cooking it will kill off anything, including the beneficial fungi and bacteria, while freezing it for a few days won't kill off the fungi and bacteria. So I personally like to freeze it. Boy, I told y'all this was going to be long. We still have 2 more stages to go. Let's move on to the adults. There are several ways to get rid of them, and I think a combination of them is the best way to go. The first is the most obvious, these yellow sticky traps. I have tried all the colors, and I don't know why, but I feel like yellow attracts them the most. Put these everywhere. You can put them in your soil, on your tanks. Just keep them out of high traffic areas unless you want them to stick to your hair. And if you have pets, like my cats, don't put them in places your pets tend to hang out. Trust me, you do not want a panicked cat flying across your face at 4 a.m., claws out because they've got a sticky trap stuck to their tail. Not speaking on experience or anything. If you have a terrarium and you're afraid your animal is going to get stuck in the sticky trap, just put it on top of the mesh like this. And if you don't have a mesh lid, so you have a glass or plastic lid, you can just take your sticky trap and put it on there so it's nice and sticky. And if you're worried about it falling, just take a piece of tape that sucker on, just like that. Moving on to the next method. If you've ever wanted a carnivorous plant, now is your excuse to get one. Like, their whole thing is to attract fungus gnats to them so they can eat them. Why not use that to your benefit? Place them in an area that seems the most populated and watch them work. An extra amazing perk about the carnivorous plants is they won't stick to your cat's tail or your hair. If you're putting these in a terrarium, make sure that it's small enough where it won't eat your reptile and high enough where your isopods and springtails won't get into it. I personally would just keep it outside of the tank. You can also get these cool little devices to plug in around your house. These work great in high traffic areas as the sticky part is either on the back or closed off, so it's not going to get stuck to anything. I plugged these in yesterday over a terrarium that has fungus gnats right now, and look how many it's caught already. One last method is you can make your own homemade concoction if you can keep it away from your pets. In a cup, mix equal parts water and apple cider vinegar and then a couple drops of dish soap, and just set it around your house away from your animals. And if you don't have or want to use apple cider vinegar, you can use water, a little lemon balm oil, and then a couple drops of dish soap in the same exact way. I've also heard people using beer with dish soap. I've not tried that, and I don't know if it works. Those are the only concoctions that I know. Is there any that I'm missing? Also, it's important to use the dish soap, as that is what traps them in and makes them drown. Like, they can't fly away if you use the dish soap. Don't worry, I haven't forgot about the eggs. To get rid of the eggs, you can purchase and distribute Rove beetles. But if you're afraid of bugs, I would skip these, as you will be able to see them crawling around. And these suckers don't just eat the eggs, they eat the larvae and pupae and other soil dwellers like thrips and root mealies. I've been told they don't eat isopod and springtails, but I've never tried it. If you have, let me know your experience, because I kind of want to try them. Other options to get rid of the first 3 life cycles would be a soil drench. You could use hydrogen peroxide or pesticide, and pesticides will get rid of anything in the soil plus anything that comes in contact with it. I'd not really recommend either in a tank with reptiles and bugs though. SNS 203 and 209 are both natural pesticides you can use as a soil drench. They're both derived from rosemary and will get rid of anything in the soil. You could also use neem oil, Azamax, or even harsher stuff if you wanted. Just remember, you want to get what's in the soil, so you want to completely soak that soil, like drench it. Systemics could also work, but it takes a few days to seep in the soil and get in the roots and the plant. And remember, systemic doesn't discriminate. It will poison anything, good or bad, except for spider mites, which it is like a steroid for them. If you're interested in purchasing anything we've talked about in this video, I've put a link in my bio, and I will make a commission off of it, which will help me continue to make videos like these. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like. And don't forget to subscribe and share this with a friend who's had issues with fungus gnats. Let me know if there's any other pests you want me to do a breakdown of.